my sweet souls. Welcome to Rebel Fate. I'm Christy, but here I'm just Mama Chris. This is a space where truth breaks chains, where love reclaims power, where your soul finally gets to breathe. If you've been told to worship outside yourself or to fear the fire within, this podcast is your invitation to remember who you really are. So let's wake up together. Hey everybody, I'm Mama Chris here on this beautiful May 26, 2025 here in Phoenix, Arizona. And today I have another guest, and I'm really excited because she's my best friend and my roommate, and she's gone through quite a story from trauma to healing, which is what I'm all about, and bringing light and truth and love into our lives through whether religion or whatever your beliefs are in God. She's got quite a story. Her name is Jenna J. She's an amazing hairstylist. I'm so proud of her. And welcome to the show, Jenna.
Hey, thanks, Christy. I'm glad to be here, always. We definitely have had a journey together.
I met her going into Ulta Beauty to get my hair done. And I'm like a guy. Like, I don't really put a whole lot of stock into my, like, I'm not a foo-foo type of girly girl. But something really led me to just go in, and I see Jenna, and she just looks like frazzled and depressed, and like she's at the end of her rope. And I'm like, oh, I know that look, you know. But I sat down with her, and there was just this instant connection.
Yeah.
And you and I just, like, if other people know what we're talking about, that kindred spirit feeling that I've known you forever. And then tell me what you said, what someone told you.
I had a friend a couple of weeks prior to meeting you. I was in a crossroads in my life, going through a lot of stuff. Had my spiritual awakening, was going through it. I think there's definitely different stages of awakening that we go through.
All the time.
And I was in my final stage of really letting go of ego and just releasing and detaching and unsure what the light of the tunnel looked like for me, or if there even was one. Mm-hmm. And met you, and instantly I knew that you were the person that they said was going to be sent for me. And
who's they? People are going to want to know.
They would be the guides.
God, the guides,
the universe.
The voices we hear that we know is not ours when we start awakening.
Exactly, our inner voice. And I just knew that I was going to meet somebody who was very similar to me. That was going to be a huge change in my life. Mm-hmm. And so when we first started talking, our first conversation was about our spirituality, and we just kept having aha moments, like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And we were like those 12-year-old little girls just like freaking out, like, oh my God, where have you been my whole life? Like, are you my sister? It was crazy. And that was right before my birthday. And my birthday, my special number, 111. And from there, it was a roller coaster of each week, every couple of days, me and you were just in alignment to different parts further of our awakening. And then we decided we had to move in together after only knowing each other a short period of time. And this is where we really connected, and this is why we're here doing the podcast together, is because our stories are so similar. We linked through similar pain. Mm-hmm. We bonded through that. We understood each other at that soul level so deeply. And from there, we built this sisterhood, this friendship, where we're understanding that, like, our mission, our purpose is to really help other women, rise into their true potential. So
bingo. And that is right. That is why what we're here to do together is we're here to raise you women out there and to let you know that it is feminine rising time. We are moving out of the age of Pisces into the age of Aquarius. And a lot of women, and men too, are getting, the feminine is getting activated. So you're going through a lot of feelings. Oh, that's where we really bonded, as we went through a lot of feelings of anxiety, dealing with trauma. A lot of old things have been coming up lately. we really believe we're in the shift, right, Jenna?
I mean, I think that we're definitely in the shift, and I don't think that we really knew that what the shift was until we kind of linked up and met each other.
Yeah.
When I started my awakening process I would think it's been about 3 years now that I've been in my awakening, and I've just been getting subtle nudges from the universe when I really first started, and through every process of shedding and detaching and letting go of old friends and letting go of old career mode, life, family, everything, and really finding myself.
Isn't that weird how everybody just falls away?
They fall away. It's detachment, and it's because the universe is pulling you out of that and putting you really on your true path. And so once I started understanding the signs and following the signs and my curiosity kicked in, I just started researching everything. I was at that pivotal point in my life where I couldn't take the pain anymore. I couldn't understand why I had so much love to give, but it never was given back to me in return. And I didn't understand what going within meant or working on yourself meant. I had no understanding.
Everyone's saying, do the shadow work, go within. You're like, what does it mean?
What does shadow work mean? What does mirror work mean?
Explain to everyone. What does it mean? Like give it to us raw.
Shadow work is literally sitting in front of the mirror and staring into yourself, and any thought that comes up that you don't like about yourself, you really have to sit with, and you have to understand where it came from, what childhood situation you had been through, or what situation in relationships you had been through that made you feel that inner self like not worthy. And
not just what people have done to us, but also recognizing what we've done to
ourselves.
And what we've done to ourselves.
My biggest part of my awakening was realizing I had been stuck in toxic, abusive cycles, that I was repeating those patterns that had been done to me. And I didn't realize it until like my epiphany and my awakening started happening. And I was like, oh my God, I have to be the one to stop the cycles and make the change. And once you break out of one cycle, then you have to break out of more. But each time you break out of a cycle, you get more and more information that brings you back to your inner self.
It's like putting a puzzle back together.
It is. You're like bringing your fragmented pieces back and you're putting them together. You're rebuilding your puzzle. I always like to explain it to my clients when they're in the chair. And I tell them, it's like a porcelain doll. That's how you kind of have to imagine your soul or your soul. And it cracks open every time somebody hurts you, or every time somebody says something negative to you, and it affects your inner energy, your soul. And so when you're going through your inner awakening, you're trying to bring all of those pieces back together. And sometimes you can't glue them back together. You have to really transform and create a whole new doll within yourself, because once, you bring all the pieces back together, it's a journey to wholeness.
I like the stained glass analogy too. Like when you take all these different colored Coke bottles and stuff and you smash them, and then you take the pieces and you create this beautiful stained glass, piece of art.
Yeah.
And that's what we all are. But, it's really realizing too how, and this isn't against any of you men out there, but I think we can all admit that women and certain races of people have been suppressed and pushed down. And let's talk a little bit about that, how the women are now rising and we're coming back together, where we used to be like catty towards each other, like, oh my God, she's prettier than I am, and oh my God, I want what she's got. And it was just like really ugly, like the way we were with each other, coming out of this old consciousness. Now that we're moving into this new consciousness, we're starting to realize they've been holding women down, and we are very powerful, and we are very, very powerful together. Like you and I and Poppy, when we get together, I'm telling you what, we can manifest some awesome stuff when we get together. Let's talk about it.
I mean, I think right now we're at this pivotal point in our evolution as humanity, and I think a lot of people are coming up to this awakening, realizing that the way we had been living in society, we can't live anymore. Our culture on relationships, our dynamics have changed. I mean, if you're looking back the last 20 or 30 years, there was so much abuse in families, and the woman got ripped out of the household and had to work, and now she has to pay taxes, and now women have to be more successful than men, and so men got pushed more into their feminine energy, and women had to rise up in their masculine energy. But I think where the real disconnect is with society is that's almost part of the matrix encoding system to really steal their sacred creation energy, versus if women were in their truest form and could really be in that feminine energy where they belong and be soft and have that masculine energy to trust, it would be a different game.
And the same for men same for men. They're having to deal with us women like out masculining them. Is that a word?
I think so.
But I mean, and that's very demasculating for them. And so, we've been in a big conundrum, but there is hope. We see now that this new era is coming, and we're not just becoming masculine or feminine. I think as human beings, we're integrating both.
Right.
Balancing our chakra.
Balancing our light and dark, which would be the balance of duality, which nothing would exist without.
Exactly.
So I think we're at that time where it was either light or dark and there was no in between, and now learning to accept our darkness, thank it for what it gave us, turning those pain into blessings. That's really where we are moving as society, humanity, understanding that we don't have to repeat those cycles. Once we understand what they are and how to break them, then it's really easy to have that manifested life of your dreams. Nothing's holding you back. There's no fear. There's no lack. I think the biggest thing, like me and you discuss all the time, is that seeking externally. Yes. That external validation where people think that they're unfulfilled unless they have a relationship, or they're unfulfilled unless a person texts them or calls them back, or they're meeting somebody. And inner fulfillment and enlightenment really is just working toward that inner sense of belief in self and that love for self and unconditional love for self, and that total authenticity of who you are as a person. That's where we're navigating, where people aren't letting those fear-based control systems or belief in family tell them who they should date, or expectations or duty. It's more soul-based, where we're meeting like me and you, and we're instantly attracted to each other because we have that soul connection. We knew that we had a similar interests, similar alignment, similar purposes, and we build each other up and we grow. And that's where we kind of need to change that norm that we're so used to, because it's not working.
Well, yeah, and that brings up again for what I like to teach about as the church, where people are reaching out for God, help me, God, save me, God, and they don't know how to do what you're talking about, how to go within and touch into God within, because we are all parts of God having these experiences in this earth simulation.
Right.
And once you do tap in there and you touch that, these things start to change. And I really want people to understand that it really is a literal change that does happen if you are willing to go within and do the work like you and I have both done. We are at a place where we're not reaching for external things anymore in order to make us whole. We are whole within. It's a very content place to be. And it actually literally does change our reality, does it not?
It does.
We live in a peaceful reality. We don't see people being mean to each other. We don't experience crime. And I couldn't explain why that happened. But I can tell my audience that I've experienced that. And they're like, oh, you're just having a good year, But now I have you here to back it up. So tell me what it's like, because you experience it too, because you've done the work.
I mean, a lot of it is the change of perspective. Really, when you reprogram your brain, our brain is a giant computer, and it processes information like computers do. And the first 2 years of our life, we're really programmed into these thought constructs and our attachment styles and how we bonded with our parents. And depending on
deep program,
our childhood, we really have to, deprogram those wounds, and why we looked for certain partners, because what were we lacking? And it's just a culture of lack. I lack something, so I need something else, or I lack something, or I need something else. It's always mirroring back to you where you don't feel worthy on the inside.
Yeah.
And so if you look at it from that perspective, and you look at every single encounter you have with every single person, they're mirroring back to you.
You can't blame anyone anymore.
Can't blame anybody,
because you
for
know
anything.
that you're attracting it. It's all you attracting
and
that.
it's lack of boundaries,
Yeah.
which is why you're attracting it. It's lack of standing up for yourself. It's lack of love and self-respect. Those are why you're attracting these lessons, instead of just awareness of where you're at. I don't attract lessons anymore.
Yeah.
I attract soul-based connection.
Exactly.
People that see my heart for what it is, that see me for who I truly am and want to be a part of that journey.
That's why so many people disappear.
Exactly. And I'm okay with having a very small crowd of people as long as people understand my truth and my vision and my authenticity. And that's the part of the awakening, is understanding who you are on the inside.
And always still looking within, never feeling that you've arrived, always continually looking in that mirror and going, I feel something stirring within me. What is it? You know, I thought I was being loved when I was just accepting everybody and just loving them and not setting boundaries. And that was a hard lesson for me to learn, because I was letting people just suck me dry. And being empathic, you know, I was giving all that energy out, having nothing left for myself. And I had to learn how to set boundaries. It is love to set boundaries. It is love to say no. It is love to be that light sword slicing through the darkness of people that just want to take advantage of you. So you've gone through that too, huh?
Well, and this is what me and you have been talking about recently also, is that mirror effect. And sometimes you have to show somebody the mirror in a way of boundaries. So if somebody mistreats you, you kind of have to guide that direction and immediately establish those boundaries in order for them to learn and for them to heal. And a lot of the time, I think people are so afraid to stand up for themselves.
Absolutely.
And they just accept being walked all over and accept taking the abuse. And so the whole point of spiritual awakening and enlightenment is understanding that you have a voice. Your voice deserves to be heard.
Yeah.
Your voice is you, and how you choose to speak for yourself.
Not the mask that we wear.
No,
Not the
inside our heart,
masks,
right?
But the essence.
The essence of us, that we're spirits having a human experience.
Yes.
But what we do here, we take with us for all of existence. So what we do here is so important. That's why intention is important. That's why awakening is important. That's why it's you're never healed, right? It's that continual process of wanting to change the narrative, of wanting to be different than you were the day before, and actively, consciously making those choices.
How would you explain to the audience the best, maybe first ways to get started? Like, at first you can't change something until you realize it, or you're aware of it, or you feel it. A lot of people out there are disconnected. They're very disconnected, and they're escaping to alcohol, they're escaping to drugs, they're escaping to relationships. And we've done that. We've been there, done that. And it just leaves you feeling empty. How would you tell them to go within, and just some first steps that are really easy to do that helped you?
I think the first step would be acknowledging that your life is no longer manageable, that happiness and joy is obtainable, that we're all entitled to it, it exists, and it's all based on our perception. So sitting with yourself in front of the mirror and asking yourself, is my life obtainable, manageable? Is it something?
Is it real?
Is it real? Or am I doing this job because my dad told me to? Am I doing this career path because it was my mom's career path? Am I doing this because I'm afraid of being a failure and I have all these expectations riding on me? Whose expectations are there? Are they yourselves' expectations, or are they other people's expectations? Stress and anxiety, high cortisol levels, people being stuck in fight or flight. I mean, it's an epidemic spreading nationwide, really worldwide. Everybody's going through it, and everybody's feeling these shifts of energetic change that they're trying to be forced into. And how do you take that first step into change is to acknowledging that your life needs to change.
Yeah, therapy is great, and I'm a huge advocate for therapy, but it keeps everything kind of surface level. You know, it's all about the past, what happened in the past. And we know that time isn't linear. We understand that now as we've awakened. So you keep going back into the past that doesn't exist, and remembering things that happened and talking about them over and over again, which just keeps them alive. You told me that you went in, I suggested that we go in and we thank those beings that hurt us, because we understand that we are beings having a human experience, and that they actually served us, because we don't learn on the mountaintops. We learned the biggest and best lessons in the valleys. So that was a huge turning point for you when you actually went in. And I love that about you so much. And that's one of the things that attracted to me so much, is that you're a seeker. You've always wanted to love unconditionally, radically, and be the very best person that you can be. Tell me about when you went in and thanked those beings, and kind of what that looked like. You don't have to tell the exact stories, but.
I mean, a lot of it came in waves, and I think it came in synchronicities and signs, but it was going back to every experience that had hurt me deeply. And I mean, I think we all know those experiences that just shake us to our core, and going from my eyes now, what do I see? And I wouldn't be here now, who I am, being able to record this with you, or proceeding to follow my path and my journey and my passion in any way, if I didn't look back and say, I'm thankful that I went through that, because now I have this fire, this warrior spirit, like give me more mountains, God. I feel like I haven't got enough yet. I'm ready. But It's because I learned so much from it. I learned relationship dynamics. I learned how to heal generational trauma. I learned about the balance of energy. I learned about all types of religion. I went back with fresh eyes, and I knew that it had to happen exactly how it happened, that we did choose it. And I know that I chose that because it prepared me for what I'm about to go into. And everything is just preparation for something else. So when you thank it for what it served you, it served me because it prepared me for my becoming. Healing. It's deeply healing. Deeply healing.
I think when, if someone could just go and step outside of yourself and realize that you are a being having you're a John, you're a Jill, you're having a human experience, and then really just start looking at that mask, that persona that I love how Jim Carrey talks about that. Like when it hit him, he was like, there's a voice in me, and it's not Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
And I think I would say would be like the first step of really taking a hard look at yourself and allowing the ego, that mask that we wear, to become less, and the God in us to rise and become more.
Exactly. And I think, the way to do that is to start reaching out with people that resonate with you. It'll come. It always comes. Once you're in that place to welcome it, it always comes. And building community and listening to these podcasts and asking questions for yourself that you would never ask. Like, who am I really?
Who am I really?
Who am I really?
What do I really want?
What do I really
passionate about?
What's my purpose?
Yeah.
And your purpose isn't what you do. Your purpose isn't being a doctor. Your purpose isn't, doing car sales, whatever. That's not your purpose. It's who you are. How can you relate what you've been through and what you've learned, and how can you share it with somebody else in a way where you're still creative and you're still passionate, and you're focusing really on that self-forward movement.
Yes.
So who am I really, aside from all the masks and all the faces and all the identities?
The amazing hairstylist.
Aside from me being a hairstylist, who am I really? I'm a person with integrity and love, who's been hurt, who's alchemized my pain, and I turned it into blessings. And now my abundance is coming, but who am I really? I'm a leader and a healer who gets to share my roadmap with everybody else so that they can see through that tunnel.
And doesn't our abundance change once we get through all of those valleys and we deal with all of that? The things that we thought we wanted become very shallow.
Our abundance changes because when you're going through an awakening and you're in isolation and you're unsure where to go, that's when God or the universe or Infinite One Creator, that's when they come to you and they say, okay, you're ready, but you have to be stripped away from your earthly possessions because they have no value.
And you don't want them anymore.
They're just external. They're just items that take up space in our matrix.
You're trying to prove yourself. You're trying to be like all of a sudden you're just like, you almost kind of you go through what's called the dark night of the soul. A lot of people do, and I know I did. When you realize, okay, Christy's gone. Now who am I? And I have found that I am who I am the best is when I'm with people like you and we're talking about things like this.
Because we get to be real and we get to be authentic and we get to talk about all of these subjects that people are in fear of. They're in fear of talking about it.
It's a scary place to go with it and take a look at that nasty stuff that we try to push.
But I don't want this to be a place of fear. I want this to be a place of love where they're like, hey, I've always thought about that, but I've never really had the strength to ask those questions for myself. And like the whole point is to start asking those questions. You don't have to be like us or follow our same beliefs, but you have to be you.
Wherever you are, if you're a Christian, if whatever religion you are, so you just started your own teachings.
I did.
And you're so eloquent and people can relate to you so well. If they want to reach you, what's the best way to get in touch with you?
So there will be a 28-day, 10-step program to reconnect with your inner self. That's just where the work starts.
Yeah.
And then it goes from there. So that'll be available on my Instagram and soon my website. And
which is? What's your do you have
the
your
website's
website
just still in the works, so we're not there yet, but that'll be available soon.
I will be posting it on my website for you guys to get in touch with Jenna J if you would like to work with her. She's amazing. I mean, she's my best friend. Of course, she's amazing. So anyway, we're gonna wrap it up. We're at the end. I love you guys very much. I'm Mama Chris, and I will see you on the next episode. Hope you enjoyed it. If this stirred something inside of you, it's because your soul remembers. You were never meant to live in fear. You were meant to create, to embody, to radiate. Thank you for walking with me today. This is Rebel Faith. I'm Mama Chris, and I'll be right here reminding you, you've always been the miracle.